If your telehealth marketing emails aren't converting, it's probably not because you're bad at email marketing. You might even have a great marketing team, but the truth is, the telehealth industry is so different and so specific that the strategies that work for traditional e-commerce just don't make sense. So after generating over $60 million in telehealth email sales and working with dozens of brands in the space, I'm going to be breaking down the 4 key differences that you need to know about. And if you're not making at least 25% of your total sales from email and SMS marketing, this video is definitely for you. So going into the first key difference between traditional e-commerce and telehealth, the mistake number 1 is to treat the questionnaire like a shopping cart. Because in e-commerce, abandonment is often just like a price problem in many cases. But in telehealth, the fix is completely different. So you can see here an example, little beast, traditional e-commerce. There's like cart abandonment flow, instant 15% off, just your cart is about to expire, here's 15% off your order. And then there's the dynamic block of the product they were looking at and then continue to check out. So that's pretty much it. Super simple. You don't really need to do anything else in this case. When you go into the telehealth, when it comes to telehealth, you should actually go much deeper. Obviously, there's still room for this kind of reminder for those people who actually forgot to finish their questionnaire or something. But then when you go deeper into the flow, you need to be much more specific about what you're talking about, offer more support, offer more help and stuff like that. So if you look at this email here, hey there, customer name, it's first name from brand name, I'm reaching out regarding the NAD questionnaire you were filling earlier. And then it's basically offering support first of all. So just people can respond to this, it's like conversational approach, and then they can have a chat with your support team to understand if there's any kind of objections or trust issues or something that can be fixed. Then there's also a unique recovery link. So basically this link is a magic link that directs them back to the questionnaire in the exact spot where they left off from. So basically if they were filling the questionnaire for 5 minutes and then they dropped off, they don't need to start all over again, but they can return to the same spot where they have already given their information about their weight and their BMI and everything. Then it comes to handling specific objections delicately. So basically, if we can look at this here, how does the process work? What is the most affordable way to pay for it? What pharmacy do you use? How long does the process take? Etc. etc. So it pretty much answers all of the key FAQs, tries to remove all the objections, all the issues why they wouldn't trust you in this one long email here. Because it's trust and safety issue often, it's not a pair of, bamboo socks we're talking about here compared to, let's say, traditional e-commerce. We're not talking about apparel, we're talking about actually buying prescription drugs that need to be injected with a needle, big scary needle, and you have seen this from some company on Facebook ads or something. It's a little bit different dynamic and you need to account for that when you're doing these flows. And if you want to look at the full breakdown of this flow, I have a video specifically about it, so you can click it from here and go watch. Now, mistake number 2 is to stop writing like a marketer, or basically start writing like somebody else than a marketer. So that's what we are looking for when it comes to telehealth marketing. The kind of hype-driven copy that works in e-commerce destroys trust in telehealth. So if you're just screaming, here's 20% off, flash sale, act before it's too late, etc. This kind of stuff the traditional e-commerce has a lot. We can see all of these examples here. Flash sales, pre-sales, 20% off, just like screaming the offers and everything. This still has a place in telehealth, obviously. Telehealth is still e-commerce. But this is not the key thing in telehealth. And in normal e-commerce, this is pretty much what is expected in many cases. I can argue that that wouldn't even be the case, that would actually be needed in e-commerce. But for the sake of this video, you can imagine that, okay, if this is approved in e-commerce, if this is normal in e-commerce, if this is expected there, okay, that's cool. But imagine if your doctor actually came up to you and said, unfortunately you've been diagnosed with obesity, but hey, oh boy, do I have the solution for you here? Right now we're running a 25% flash sale for GLP-1, but hurry because this offer only lasts for another 24 hours. Obviously you can still market with urgency and stuff like that in telehealth as well, but you need to be more delicate about it because it's healthcare. If you're speaking from the perspective of like a medical provider or doctor, you don't want to be fear-based. You need to actually be supportive, be empowering, be educational, and guide them towards the treatment that actually makes their life better. And if you got a message like that from your doctor, you'd probably be pretty confused. That's how it is in this case. So instead, you want to write something like this. You want to imagine you're the patient's friend who happens to have a medical background. So here's a better example. Patients on your GLP-1 plan often tell us fatigue is their biggest challenge around week 6. Your provider put together a note on why that happens and what tends to help. So this is not pushy, this is not salesy, this is not fear-driven, and that's how it should be in the telehealth. marketing. Now, mistake number 3 is to optimize for email revenue but not patient retention. And why this is a mistake? In e-commerce, retention boosts margins. It's like a nice to have, but depending on the brand, sometimes you have one-time purchase products, one-time purchase brands. It's not like you want retention still, you want LTV in different ways, but it's not about just staying in the same treatment or staying in the same product subscription for that long. But in telehealth, the retention is the whole entire business model itself. So if you're thinking about what is the North Star, for most e-commerce agencies, e-commerce marketers, their North Star is pretty much just boosting email attributed revenue, SMS attributed revenue, and boasting with their own performance. Like, look at how good we are able to get this number to be here and so on. But this also means that they're never sending emails that are actually supportive, empowering, and educational. Kind of like here, we can see effective, let's set you up for success. There's download your tracking charts for weight. There are expert tips, tip number 1, set a reminder, pair with the daily activity. And then there's time tracking charts, there's weight tracking charts. This is like pure value, pure resources for the patient to actually get the most out of the treatment on top of the actual treatment itself. And then another example, your 6-month journey phase by phase. Month 1, the shift, then the momentum, then the confidence, recalibration, the breakthrough, the new you, etc., etc. So we're actually giving them all the keys they need to succeed with their treatment in the best way possible. Not just with the actual medication that they're injecting, but with everything that comes together with it and everything that happens around it in your life. And that's how it should be here. It doesn't lead to, direct conversions if you're sending these kind of emails, but it leads to these customers and these patients having a better experience with your brand, getting better results with the treatment, and actually also staying on the treatment for longer for that reason. And not only that, but they're also going to be more likely to recommend you to other friends of theirs who might need the same solution, and you will just get free word of mouth from that. But obviously, also because of the crazy high customer acquisition cost in 2026, you need to increase the LTV, not just to get a front-end sales. Let's say, for example, HEMS, their CAC is around more than $900. So it takes more than 4 months to break even from the customer acquisition. So if the patients don't stay for that long, they're just operating at a loss basically. And the entire business model collapses at that point. So this is how crucial it is. Like I said, it's not just a part of the business, it's the entire business model. You need to have high retention, you need to have high LTV, and that's how you're able to afford paying for the acquisition. And that's how you're able to actually keep the business running and be profitable and grow. And then the mistake number 4, which is compliance. So every tactic that kind of kills it in e-commerce, urgency copy, outcome claims, before and afters. This is a little bit risky, or it can even be banned in the telehealth space when it comes to the compliance. It doesn't mean that you couldn't do like flash sales at all, or you couldn't do like offer ends at midnight or whatever. You can still do that kind of stuff, but it's just like you need to be more careful about it. So if I give you like a really extreme example, here's our treatment cures obesity, guaranteed to lose 30 pounds in your first month. If you're experiencing unexplained weight gain, you may have a metabolic disorder, start treatment today. So that's like get a telehealth branch compliance team fired. That's what I wrote here. And that's what I would say you don't want to do. That's an example of what to avoid. And then the actual rules, what are they? Well, every claim needs to be kind of hedged. It's like hedging. So you can say may support, patients report, designed to help. You can also have like aggregated across our reports or results from our X amount of patients or something like that. You can do that, but you cannot do like this will cure your condition completely. You cannot claim that. You cannot promise that. You cannot say, you're guaranteed to lose this many pounds on your first month or something. So for example, like I said, instead of having guaranteed to lose this many pounds, you can say our patients report this much weight loss on average within the first month, but you cannot guarantee. And then you cannot say like you may have this type of condition or something. So you cannot have like diagnostic language in the front-end market. And if the agency or if your email marketer or whoever is running your email doesn't understand these points here, you're pretty much going to be spending tens of hours per week micromanaging, and this costs more than it saves. So if you want a telehealth first lifecycle marketing agency, then you can click the first link in the description to book a call with us. You can go to our website as well, see a little bit of our case studies, so you understand that I actually know what I'm talking about, and then you can book the call from there. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.